Hello everybody and welcome to this channel. I'm Jack and today I'm going to share with you something that's going to revolutionize your guitar playing. As an intermediate guitar player, you might already know how to play, the major scale or the minor scale, and you might know a position or two for each of these scales. You might know even more, like you might know the pentatonic and all of that. But for today, I'm just going to focus on scales that have 7 notes, right? So major scale, minor scale, all the other modes that you probably know or not, right? But it doesn't really matter because whatever I'm going to show you, you can use it for any scale. For today, I'm going to use the A minor scale just to make things simple and so you can see it on the fretboard and, make sure everybody understands. But you can apply that to any scale you want. All right, here's the thing. As I mentioned, you probably already know this shape. Or maybe this shape in what we call 3 notes per string. Alright, so you might know one or the other, or you might know the major counterpart. And please just make sure to stick till the end, even if you already know some of the stuff I'm going to share with you, because it's all going to come together at the end. Alright, so don't skip ahead and keep watching till the end. And also, if you need all the diagrams for today's lesson, all you have to do is just click on the link below and download your free PDF for this lesson and all the other lessons that we have for free here on YouTube or on the website. All right, so it's really just packed with information. So you do that and let's jump right into it. These positions essentially are the same notes repeating again and again. So essentially when we're playing any of these shapes, what we're doing is playing 2 octaves or more of the same scale. So these 7 notes I talked to you about are being repeated more than once. So instead, what I want to do, right, as an intermediate guitar player or even more advanced or even late beginner, what I want to try to do here is play only 1 octave so that I can take this octave and play it all over the fretboard, which is gonna open up everything for me. I'll be able to play an idea and take it anywhere else on the fretboard. And I'm going to show you that in just a few minutes, right? We'll do a demonstration. Let's take the first shape that you probably know, this one. And let's take a look at the notes. What we have is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then A again. And from here on is where I start the 2nd octave, right? There you go, here's my other A. So what I want to do is just play 1 octave as I mentioned. Okay, 7 notes in total, plus the A note, so you can say just 8. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. That's the first concept I need you to understand. Second concept I need you to understand is that essentially we're going to use that shape and just one other shape. Okay, so we have just 2 shapes, and we see those shapes as one, going towards the left and one going towards the right. This one was the one going towards the right, okay, is the right shape because from that root note, I'm playing mostly towards the right, okay? And then the other shape that I'm going to show you is going towards the left because it's on the left of the root note. Okay, these 2 shapes will be used all over the fretboard, and we're gonna have variations of these 2 shapes, but essentially it's only 2 shapes. Okay, so I talked about the right shape, here's the left shape. So instead of starting with the index finger, I'm gonna start on A with the pinky, and I'm gonna move towards the left. I said that 100 times today. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then A again. Okay, let's just play them back to back. Right shape, left shape. Now, third and last concept I need you to understand is that you need to know how to find your root note all over the fretboard. Alright, so you need to find all your A notes all over the fretboard. If you know how to do that, awesome. If you do not know how to do that, I'll link you to a lesson below, okay, and you can just watch that lesson afterwards. It's going to show you how to find your root note all over the fretboard. How to find any note, actually. So, that was the shape starting from the E string, which is the 6th string. Okay, so I'm going to call that root on 6. Root on 6 means it's on string 6 and not fret 6. Okay, just to be clear. Now, let's do exactly the same thing, but starting from root on 5. So my root note, the A note, is on the 5th string, which is the A string. So because it's the A string, it's either 0 or 12. We're gonna go with 12. So the right shape is this. Same shape, right? Just transposed an octave higher. And now the left shape, also same shape, right? But what do you notice here? With the one I did on string 6, I ended up playing the A with the index because it was on the outer side of the scale. Here, I had to play the A note with the middle finger because it wasn't on the outer side, right? So it wasn't on fret 9, but on fret 10. That's because we always need to take into consideration what's going on between the G and the B strings. If you're not familiar with it, I'll just tell you real quickly. Whatever shape I have on any other pair of strings, I'd have to change it when I'm playing it on G and B. Okay, so if that's my shape on the A and the D strings, if I take that to the G and the B strings, then I'll have to do this. And not that. You can hear the difference in sound, right? So whatever's going on anywhere else, I'd have to bring it up 1 fret between the G and the B strings. All right, so now we covered the root on 5. Let's go to root on 4. For root on 4, my A note is here. So the right shape is this. And see, here, once again, I'm moving everything up 1 fret when it comes to the B string. And now the left shape is this. There you go. Even though I'm repeating myself, but it's essential to understand that these shapes are the same. We're not changing anything. Just the fingering might be changing and the positioning might be changing just because of the geometry of the guitar. Now that we covered root 6, 5, and 4, we're going to cover root on 3, which is the last one for today. Okay, so root on 3 is basically on the G string. We have A on 2 or on 14. Okay, so I'll do that on 14 just because I want you to see the left shape, right? The right shape is okay on 2. But then for the left shape, we run out of fretboard. So we're going to do that here. Okay, so this note is just like this one. Just an octave higher. There you go. So now that we've covered all of these shapes, the idea is to just play them back to back, right? Practice playing them back to back and start using them in your improv. How are you going to do that? Well, there are multiple ways. I'm just going to give you one example, and one of the examples I would use with my students. If you want to use anything else, right? So you can do whatever you want. What I do with my students is I tell them, okay, let's create a lick on any of these shapes and try to replicate it on all the other shapes. It's going to take some time at first, but once you get used to it, it becomes pretty easy. And just a piece of advice, try not to add too much phrasing elements. Like try not to do herons and pull-offs and slides and whatnot, because you might not be able to replicate it everywhere. Okay, just for now, like we start easy and then we can just complicate it as much as we want. All right, so let's start with the first shape, root on 6 to the right, and let's consider this to be our lick. All right. So what I'm going to do now, by looking at the shape on the left, is try to figure out what notes I was using. So I know that I was using the A note, the root note, and just one before it. So this should give me an indication of where I should start. So that's my root note, and that's the note before it. So so we take that concept and we try to replicate it everywhere else. That's the root on 5, okay? And there you go. I'm not gonna bore you with the rest. You do that on your own. Okay, so we're gonna pull out a random backing track in A minor, and I'm gonna give you the link for it below. And I'm gonna try to use all of the shapes we covered today as much as I can, right? So if I miss one or two, just excuse me, right? And we're gonna try to improvise all over. So let's go. 3, 4. Alright everybody, that's essentially it. I'm going to summarize what we did today, and I'm going to give you some recommendation if you want to practice the way we do. When I say we, it's, me and my students and everybody in our community. Alright, the first thing we need to remember is that if I take a mini shape of the scale and I move it everywhere on the fretboard, I'll be able to express myself more freely, right? Instead of being stuck in that box pattern, right? Now I'll be able to just move all the way around. That's the first thing to remember. Second thing to remember is that you have a left shape and a right shape. And third thing you need to know is that you need to know your root notes and where they are on the fretboard. Now, here are my recommendations. You can change the key. Now, we did it in A minor. Why don't you try to do it in B minor or a C sharp minor or whatnot? Why don't we change scales? So why don't you try and do it on the major scale, or try to do it on the Dorian mode, or anything you like. And the third thing is, as I mentioned, take a lick and just play it all over the fretboard, and then maybe start creating your solo from here. Hopefully you enjoyed this lesson, and that was, something new. I give you a new perspective. So right now I'm waiting for you in this other video, because if you like this one, probably gonna like that other one I'm showing you right now on the screen. Click on it, and I'll see you in the next one.